Hi, I'm Raven Grimassi, author of books on Wicca, witchcraft, magic, and neo-pagan inner mystery traditions. Today I'd like to talk to you about my book titled Crafting Wiccan Traditions. When I first encountered Wicca was back in the summer of 1969. And at that time Wicca was really a little bit different than the way it's portrayed today. It had definite ways of looking at things. It had its own specific terminology. It was, to use a modern swear word, structured. And today, Wicca is a lot different. You visit internet forums, and there's always that question, what is Wicca? Or can I do this? Or can I do that? Or how do I do this? And how do I do that? So there seems to be, generally some confusion as to what it is. What is this thing, Wicca? It's really evolved over the decades. Um, as an American, my experience with it was the cultural view of it here in this country. And there are certainly cultural views that differ in other regions of the world. But when you grow up in a culture, that's your experience. And you meet people and you practice systems that they've devised or recreated or whatever it might be. They call them Wicca, and you grow up basically with that understanding that's what you're doing. You're practicing Wicca. So you're really practicing it based upon your cultural understanding of it, and that will differ from region to region. What I wanted to do with the book was to talk about the commonalities. A lot of people want to create their own tradition, or they want to practice solitary, but they want some type of structure or format, or at least a way of doing something. How do I go about creating a book of shadows? What goes in it? What shouldn't go in it? These are very common questions. And since I've been practicing the craft for decades, I've stumbled upon a thing or two, and I think that the book can be very helpful if you're looking at ways of putting together a cohesive tradition, one that all the parts fit well and they function well. There's a chronology to them, they make sense. So I explore different things. The book isn't about dictating to you what you should or shouldn't do. The book is really about suggesting models, things that have worked in the past, things that still work, so that you can look at them, examine them, figure out, well, is that something I want? Or is that something I'll pass on? And that's fine. What can enhance my practice? Typically, a better understanding of the parts, the elements, the facets of Wicca can enhance your rituals, how to construct them, why you're doing what you're doing. So the book is really about that kind of an experience. So I talk about first the enchanted world view, the idea of what is the mystical tradition, what is the religious elements, where did this come from, what are the roots of it. Some people will argue that Wicca is entirely modern, whipped up one cold winter's night, back in the 1950s. Other people feel that it's very rooted. It connects back with much older ways, practices, and beliefs. That's really not important to the book itself, because the book itself is just looking at the elements we now have and figuring out how to integrate them and how to create your own way of practicing based upon some of these ideas. So the book goes into how to build your own tradition and looking at the foundational elements. How do you choose a pantheon? How do you go about looking at gods and goddesses? Which gods and goddesses go well together? The book deals with looking at those practical elements. The Wheel of the Year is very important to the practice of Wicca, so I do deal with the Wheel of the Year, its lore, its myths, so that you understand really why these things all go together and how one Sabbat moves into the next one. So there's some models for you to examine and see if they work for you in the book. Creating rituals, this is an important part in ritual patterns. So I look at ritual elements, both ancient and modern, ways in which rituals are constructed and ways in which rituals function, bring power. So there's some ideas and models you can look at to see if these are some ways that you want to enhance your own ritual work, and if you want to look at models of how to actually sit down and write out your own ritual. That's covered in the book as well. Then we have the Book of Shadows, which is the end material of the book, and it really shows you how to construct it, how to begin, how to organize a Book of Shadows, where to put your rituals, where to put the teachings, all of these practical considerations. And then the book has a lot of correspondences, so you can look at what I call the time-honored or the time-proven correspondences. What colors represent different things like love and prosperity, the use of candles, herbs, all the things that you would actually use as a Wiccan in your practice. So you can look at these correspondences. So overall, the book is really a way of sitting down, helping you get organized, looking at working models that have worked effectively for lots of people, lots of covens over time, and seeing if these things will help you in various ways, and I'm sure they will. So I hope you'll take the opportunity to check out Crafting Wiccan Traditions. Appreciate your time and interest. Thank you.